Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan. We're looking at this 1997 Lancer Evolution 4 with 180,000 kilometers on it. That's a 4G63 280 horsepower engine. This actually, the Evo 4, I think is the first one that had the full 280 horsepower. As per the Japanese regulations at the time, actually not regulations, it's an agreement between the companies. It's basically collusion between the companies. Here in Japan, you get cheaper taxes on any engine that is 2 liters and below. And so a lot of these sports cars, that's why you'll see them as 2 liters, like the Evo, the Impreza. The Supra used to be 2 liters. Soarer used to be 2 liters. They eventually got bigger engine when they found out that 2 liters is hard to get your full 280 horsepower out of. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. This is a post-purchase inspection video where we're going to take a look at the condition of the car compared to the auction inspection sheet. This one's going over to Jacksonville in the USA as per their 25-year rule. The engine just turned off there because of the turbo timer. If you're unaware what that is, it's a timer that allows the engine to go on for a few seconds after you turn the engine off. In this case, it's 10 seconds. Now, the oil looks fine. It is midway between the minimum and the maximum, so it needs to be refilled, but of course, no troubles for shipping. The coolant is an odd color. I'm not sure. It's not warm yet. Oh, a little bit. It is green, but it's like a little bit of a weird color. Maybe some sort of an additive was put in there at some point. And so you might want to get that changed. Let's see if I can do this. Some of these can be a little bit hard to push on. There we go. Now it kind of looks like it's leaking there. It's not actually leaking anything. That was just water that was caught underneath the bumper because it was raining overnight. Overall condition of this one is pretty good. 180,000 kilometers, you're getting to the point where prices come down quite a bit and the risk of buying one goes up. A lot of these Evo 4s weren't treated very well because as the Evos got older, the 4 was generally seen as an undesirable one because the 5 and the 6 are more outrageous looking, they're more developed, and people went for those ones. But if you wanted the lightweight one, you would go with a 1, 2, or 3. And if you wanted to stay away from the AYC, like for example, you're going racing, the AYC came out in the Evo 4. It's active yaw control. So if you're going around a corner, and say you're going around the corner and all of your weight is on one side of the car, it gives you more grip for that side of the car. But it's not really very good for racing. If you're racing, you actually want regular differentials or like clutch-style locking diffs, which you couldn't install in the version with the AYC because of the AYC system. You'd have to get rid of that. The AYC ones, I don't know. I don't drive the cars that hard, so I don't really know how nice it would be to have it. That said, you know, it's 4-wheel drive. I'm not sure how much extra benefit you get from the AYC, and you have to change that fluid every like 20,000 kilometers, so it is a little bit of a pain. The Evo 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 have it. I think 7, 8, 9 do as well. I think it's the same system, not really changed that much. Okay, and it was the beginning of torque vectoring. Now a lot of cars have torque vectoring, so it is a system that people stuck with. Anyways, Rally Art strut tower brace. A nice aluminum unit, looks really solid and nice. Also Blitz adjustable suspension with adjustable top hat, so you can change your camber so that you can, you know, have track camber and then drive home camber if you want. And then you can change the dampening on it as well if you want to have a softer or a firmer feeling ride. We still have the original air box on this one, and it does have an aftermarket exhaust, but besides that, it's just basically exhaust, strut tower bar, suspension. And then the wheels on there aren't the original ones. It actually came with a set of wheels over there that look really good from this distance, but they're in pretty rough condition. You can decide if you want those put onto the car for shipping. Now, I'll close the engine room. There's nothing to talk about in here. There's no rust. You know, with a higher mileage one, especially one that comes with winter tires and comes with windshield wipers that are more suitable for winter climates, you do want to worry about rust. Evos tend to rust a lot. This one, very good. Okay, so let's go over the auction inspection sheet here. This is all the information given to us from the auction at the time of purchase, plus a few photos. And it does have a report from the auction inspector. So let's get to this. It's a 1997 Lancer GSR Evolution 4. There's also an RS Evolution 4, which was the rally version, which doesn't have the AYC active yaw control for the differentials. Or the active yaw control was, yeah, for I think both front and rear differential, or maybe just rear. I don't know. It's been a long time since I studied about that, probably 12 or 13 years. Auction grade 3.5, interior C, exterior C. That's being a little bit hard on it. I think this is a good condition car, and I think that you expect a worse condition car with 180,000 kilometers on it. 5-speed manual, of course. They only ever came with 5-speed manuals. Color silver, purchased from user. Aftermarket wheels, toll collection box, airbag, dual airbag. Power windows in the report here. Seat saggy and wear. Pillar has screw holes. It's actually to put in some extra gauges that are in there. So it's not that bad. Interior liner is scratched. It's fine. Interior is dirty. Underside surface rust. I'll show you that. Exterior has glue marks on it, paint fade, and small scratches. The glue marks, I think they're referring to this. It's a Mines logo. It doesn't seem to have any Mines parts on it, but it's a Mines logo. Okay, the paint fade, just a touch on the hood, and a touch on the roof. Not so bad at all. And then the front bumper has fade completely, and I'll show you that when I show you everything about the car. Underside has been painted, various aftermarket parts, I've already mentioned those, and then the report here says A3 large scratch on the front bumper, P2 is large paint damage, or at least medium paint damage on the front bumper. When it's a P2, I kind of consider that to be the point where it needs to be painted before the car can be used too much, unless you're okay driving around with some terrible paint. U2 on both sides. I feel like the one that is on the right side is more like U1, but 3 of them, and then a few other U1. So U2 is a medium dent, a small dent, small dent, small dent, small scratch. Okay, overall, I think the body's pretty good. I would say the front bumper maybe needs to be repainted, and that's probably the only severe thing. So we'll do a once around, and then I'll show you the close-up of everything. Evo 4s, the first one that was on the updated chassis. So Evo 1, 2, and 3 are on a chassis. 4, 5, and 6 are on a different chassis, and 7, 8, 9 are on a different one, and then the final one, the Evo 10, is on its own one. And then it used to be that they changed the Evo every year, got a new evolution, a new version for them to go racing in, and then you could go racing on the street if that's what you want to do too, by buying your own version of the Lancer Evolution. Once they reached the Evolution 10, I think they sold that for like 6 or 7 years without making any changes. It was basically just we've run out of money and we can't keep plugging money into this car kind of thing. With each version, you get a different spoiler. The version 5 and 6 got widened fenders on front and rear. The Evo 4, therefore, has a narrower look than the later ones. And that can be handsome. You know, a lot of cars, the general consensus is they got ruined by putting too many aero pieces on them. Cars such as the, the Pantera was like that. The Countach was like that. The Diablo, you could probably argue was like that. I'm not sure about the Lancer. I still feel like the 4, 5, and 6 are a smarter looking car, but the 4 could absolutely be somebody's more preferred look for the Lancer, and I don't blame them. It's a cool car. You get the rally lights in the middle, very much a Lancer Evolution / Gran Turismo thing. We got some heavy damage on the front lip here, including some damage on the bumper right there. Scratches here, and all along the edge here is scratched up to here, and then a big scratch there. All of this has been touched up with touch-up paint, but not very well done. Some scratches down there as well. The fade on the bumper is all on the upper-facing sections of it, like there, right here, and right here. All the way around there. The headlights are a little clouded. Like at the top section, you can see where like a clear coat has peeled off. Okay, this car has a OEM front mount intercooler. Not a lot of the sports cars from the 90s here in Japan got the front mount intercooler. Most of them, like Skyline and Supra, had a small intercooler on one side. This one's got an oil cooler in there. Can you see that? There it is. Oil cooler, which Mitsubishi put on a lot of their cars. So you got a little bit of fade on the wiring here. It's an OEM wiring, and it's originally painted black, but you can see the paint has come off. Same thing with down here and up here. A functional hood vent. The better of the two between this and the Impreza. Hood vent doesn't have any drag on it and actually lowers the under bay air pressure and allows your heat exchangers like the oil cooler, intercooler, radiator to all function better as a result. So between this and the Impreza, hard to say. Both good cars. This is the better one in my opinion. And that's coming from someone who's owned two Imprezas. GC8s. So that's been wrapped in a carbon fiber look thing. That's the air intake, and that's actually functional and has a little cutoff thing that you can allow more or less air through it. Pretty cool. Got a little bit of fade on the windshield wipers. Side panels are all pretty good. There's just one thing that I got to mention is the U2 that's over here. Okay. And then all of the black paint, it's supposed to be a matte black paint around the windows, is faded so that you can see just the primer. It's something you'll find on a lot of these, or they have been repainted already. You also have a rain guard up here, but it's peeling at the front section, and the one on the other side is heavily peeling. There's no rust on the roof, which is weirdly a thing for Mitsubishis. They'll rust in like this area. It's not only this, it's the Delica too, and the Legnum I've seen it as well. I'm not sure why. I've heard someone say that they rust inside here. I have seen it, but I haven't seen it that often. ARC Magic, with no ARC Magic parts on the car. And then yes, a 3-spike spoiler that if you grew up playing Gran Turismo 1 and 2, you will definitely recognize that. The Evo 3 and the 4 are the two of them that have the center spoke. Okay. The tail lights, very similar between the 4, 5, and 6, and then a nice big exhaust. I'm not sure the brand of this. Let's see if it says. I don't know, but it looks nice with a nice large pipe, like very large pipe, as you can see. Now the surface rust, right there, and it looks worse than it is. It looks all very solid. There's no rust that's made its way into the underside of that I can see. That's the AYC system right there. There's like a canister and a fluid, and then it cycles through. There's a pump and stuff. Coming down this side, stickers are actually pretty good. They no longer say Evo on the side skirt, which is a shame because that was very cool. And then what they call the U2 is right here. And as you can see, if it will focus, it's not really that bad. Okay, wheels kind of suck, but they do have a cool spider in the center. And then here you can see the bad paint on the rain gutter cover all the way across. It's things like this that really make a difference in a car too. If you were to sand that down and then repaint it and then repaint around here, the car will look a lot fresher as a result. Going into the car now, we are now on the interior section. Oh, take a look at this. I didn't notice it, but a little bit of surface rust at the top of this door. Okay, as is always the case on these cars, the interior door liners have gone loose on all 4 of the doors. Okay, the power windows all work perfectly. Somebody put a wrapping on the scuff plate here, and the wrapping is peeling up. It might be fine underneath the wrapping. To the interior now, it's simple yet effective. The Lancer gets Recaro seats, which are pretty cool. And they tend to sag pretty badly. It is a Recaro seat thing. These ones are really not so bad, and you would expect more sag at 180,000 kilometers. And what I mean is the wrinkling or the deterioration of the foam underneath here. Now this one will still hold you in really nicely, and you won't feel anything different while you're driving it. It's just basically a visual thing. Same thing goes with this bolster here. Now they're very deep seats. You can see the bolster is that deep, which is quite nice. Little Recaro stitching on them. Steering wheel, it looks like it's been untouched. So whoever drove this previously had very soft, gentle hands. The perfect kind of driver for a used car. That's what you want in a used car. Should put that in the auction sheet. Previous owner had soft hands, but a heavy clutch foot, it looks like, and ripped the aftermarket mat. The original does not exist. These mats are like $800 for a set of 4, so it is a high-end brand. Caro is the brand. But the pad that you're supposed to use to protect the carpeting was not used. So this person had really odd foot alignment. Usually, you know, I guess clutch foot is kind of there. But I don't know. I don't wear out the clutch foot on any of my cars. It's mostly this one between the brake and the... Yeah, anyway. We have 2 boxes. One is a boost controller and one is a turbo timer. Nice white face gauges. They didn't do the right thing and didn't put the tack right in the middle. That's what you should have done. Mitsubishi, tisk. And then we have an oil pressure gauge up here, which is a nice one to have, and a boost gauge down here, which is fun to have. But unless something's wrong with your car, you don't really need to see that. It's just fun. But the oil pressure is an important one. More important really is water and oil temp, in my opinion. Okay, coming into here, the AC works very nice and well. Has an aftermarket screen here. It has been smoked in, but not in quite some time, so it doesn't smell bad at all. And the overall feeling of the interior is quite nice and clean and good. Here's the Caro mat for the passenger. Peeling down. Okay, intercooler water spray. That gets your intercooler wet so that it sucks the water out, or it sucks the heat out when it evaporates. It's like coming out of the shower on a cold day while your heat gets sucked out from the evaporation. Let me show you the trunk. Let me show you the trunk. Back seats, plenty of room for adults. No troubles at all there. You're going to want to bring as many adults as you can when you're going driving to impress them with your cool car. So that's why it's nice to have the 4-door. You know, prior to this car and the Impreza, 4 doors really weren't that sporty. Usually people would go, oh, the 2-door is the sport car and a 4-door, that's the family car. Of course, there were some fast 4-doors. The GTR, the original GTR, like the Hakosuka, came out as a 4-door before it came out as a 2-door. But the 80s were all about the 2 doors. There was MR2 and Celica and Supra and 86. And I'm sure there were more, and I'm just listing off Toyotas. Like, a lot of great 2-door sports cars. Underneath here, so you can see, no rust peeling up there. Oh, I always look down here for the rust. Didn't see any. Found some on the side. I feel like I've let you down. Okay, so there is a little bit of rust in there. It doesn't look too serious in my opinion. It's got cardboard and stuff because those tires came in it. And you might have noticed that the seats in the back are a little bit dented as a result because 2 of the tires, you can't fit 4 tires in there. Okay, Lancer Evolution 4. One of the good ones left. It was hard to find good Evo 4s 8 years ago. And now, even harder. So there it is. Keep this one in good condition and it'll treat you well. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching.